The reason I live in
The
Vancouver.
reason I live in Vancouver is
Trails are awesome.
There's so many trails you can bike.
Vancouver's the best kept secret.
My family loves Vancouver.
moved to
It's a great place to raise a
What
family.
I like
There's
about
so much.
My family
Vancouver's
loves
an awesome
Vancouver.
city because my family
I
loves
love Vancouver
Vancouver.
because
It's home for me.
My sense of community with cycling was lacking up until 10 years ago when I started connecting with Bike Clark County and then also volunteering my time with mountain biking as well, where I work on trail. My feel for the community before that was really just the typical experience of a kid that rides a bike. So I didn't really have that sense of community until now. 10 years, I've seen Bike Clark County go from a shop that barely had one bench stocked to now a fully operating shop that has a regular support system and volunteer and its own community. My name is Preston Antisdale. I work for Bike Clark County as a volunteer and as their Bike to Leadership manager. I'm also a middle school math teacher at McLaughlin.
I think the most unique aspect of it is the camaraderie it brings to whether it's friends or your family. It's an activity you can do together. I've always been interested in bike riding. In fact, even though I grew up in Wisconsin, I did a bike trip with my dad in high school from Portland to Seattle to Jackson Hole. We also did a 1,000-mile trip out east, but it's something that's I've had a keen interest in. When I worked summer jobs in Wisconsin, I was always biking to my positions whenever I could. My name is Eric Shadler, and I am the Sewer Engineering Program Manager for the City of Vancouver.
So I was born in Manhattan, Kansas, and I believe we were only there about 6 months. My dad was in the military, he was stationed there. So when you live on a military base, you can walk to school, your friends are really close, the playgrounds, you just kind of run out and meet and just get into trouble and have a lot of fun. And it was the same way in Germany. We were on a base, so it was very close-knit. We didn't have to drive very much. And then even being there, we took the train everywhere, used transit, we hardly ever drove. And then when my parents moved here, we moved to a rural area in Pierce County, this new subdivision just right next to a cow pasture. And even at that age, it really hit me that I couldn't walk to school anymore. There were no parks nearby. It was difficult for me, actually. It was a pretty big change in terms of adjusting to how it was before to that kind of ex-urban, kind of suburban style. And so at that point in my life, I actually recognized that and realized that I just really didn't like that. My name is Jennifer Campos, and I'm a principal transportation planner with the City of Vancouver.
A lot of kids, they just start riding bikes when they're young, and so that was kind of the start of my interest in cycling. From there, it just kind of branched out as I got older and had a little bit more money to spend on bike stuff, branched out to commuting and touring and mountain biking instead of just riding around town. My role with Bike Clark County started out as a volunteer, but then it led into a paid position as well, managing the Bike to Leadership program. The Bike to Leadership program is a program we offer to Hudson's Bay High School and Fort Vancouver High School students. It's in part a workforce readiness program as well as a bike skills and bike safety program.
Well, I commute on an almost daily basis to work, just with friends trying to promote cycling and try to do it in a fun manner. And that can be setting goals of, okay, today we're going to try this coffee shop or this brewery. It gives an opportunity to go out with friends and see what's offered and gives us a goal of what to shoot for or do.
We do a lot of bike riding as a family, so we do a lot of the trails. There's some great shared use paths around the community, and so we've had a lot of adventures going out and riding. We like to camp during the summer and ride our bikes all over the place. So one of the things that drew me here originally was just its proximity to the river, to Portland, to all the great resources and the outdoor activities and the recreation. We have such an amazing system of community parks. My kids grew up playing in a lot of the different parks. The amazing shared use paths, the trails that we have, I think is unique to Vancouver as well. So we've just really enjoyed spending our time here and living here the last 18 years.
Having been a bicyclist for many years, the better planning that we have in the city for biking, the safer it is. And we also need improvements just to make it seem more accessible to people. A lot of people don't realize how far they can get on their bikes, as well as how practical it is to ride in a variety of weather. So if it's more accessible, people will see that as more of a possibility.
The biking community has definitely grown in the last few years. I've seen more and more bikers, even in all weather, but I've definitely seen more and more bikers and more advocacy.
There were a lot of players that created Bike to Leadership. There were nurses at Clark County Public Health, board members for Bike Clark County. I know city and county people also played a part in the planning, and then one of our main sources of funding is Kaiser, so they also kind of oversaw the development of the program.
So there's a lot of interest in improving the bike facilities in Vancouver. One that comes from creating an equitable transportation system, making sure that all ages, all users have the ability to safely use the transportation system. We're also finding that there's a lot of business interest in communities that have a lot of cycling infrastructure, have shared use paths. That's something that their employees are looking for. So from an economic development perspective, we're hearing a lot from businesses that may potentially want to relocate here or are interested in coming here or are already here. They find that it's something that their employees are really interested in, along with access to transit. So it's good for the community, it's good for the health of the community, the economic health of the community as well.
My main vision and my main focus has been with youth. So with that, my dream would be to see lots of students riding bikes because they know the benefits of getting outside and getting exercise and also being environmentally friendly while doing it. As far as personally, what I would love to see for cycling is more adults doing the same. More adults riding around and commuting and using bikes as any form of transportation or just entertainment.
Cycling is a huge part of Vancouver, and you can see that by some of the groups from the Vancouver Bike Club or Bike Clark County, which is a very unique advocacy group. We don't have the same numbers as Portland, but we do have probably the same amount of population percentage that bike here. We have a number of people that bike from Vancouver to Portland and even from Portland to Vancouver. They actually are able to bike to work in the same amount of time as it would take to drive.
So since about early 2000, the city has implemented and worked towards improving the city's bicycle network. And so now we're close to about having 100 miles of bicycle lanes in the city of Vancouver. And there's a nationwide organization that allows communities to submit information on kind of their bike program, what they're doing for outreach, what they're doing for education, their bike facilities that they have, and they have designations for communities. And so for many years, the city has been recognized as a bronze level bicycle-friendly community. So that's something that we work towards, got that designation, and would like to continue to move that up to potentially a silver designation. And that's something that if the City of Vancouver really wanted to push hard and it was something that the community was really interested in, we could get to a gold level. We would need to improve our education program, our outreach program. We already have a really strong foundation with Bike Clark County's middle school education program. They have a great Bike to Leadership program that's going on right now. So continuing and further expanding those programs, more outreach events, supporting people that are already commuting by bike, going to work by bike, and then really focusing on our infrastructure. So building more protected bicycle facilities, neighborhood greenways, and trying to provide those facilities that will get that large group of people out and interested in cycling.